Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open your body's biological operating manual for fat loss. We're going to figure out exactly why you might be struggling to lose that stubborn belly fat, and more importantly, how to fix it. Because guess what? Defeating stubborn fat is all about chemical signaling. It is absolutely not about starving yourself. So let me ask you this. Have you been negotiating with your belly fat using the totally wrong currency? Seriously, if you've been severely restricting calories, grinding through those brutal early morning workouts, but you look down and that belly fat just hasn't budged, listen, you aren't doing anything wrong when it comes to effort. You're simply fighting a biological siege with the wrong weapons. You've basically been trying to pay your visceral fat with a currency it doesn't even recognize. You've likely been stuck in a trap. The modern fitness industry loves to sell us this myth that it's all about calories, sheer willpower, and total exhaustion. But biological reality, it tells a completely different story. Your body actually needs really precise molecular instructions through hormones, liver signaling, and enzymes. It's not about punishing yourself, guys. It's about fundamentally changing the biological signals your fat cells are receiving. All right, meet this tiny but incredibly powerful enzyme called lipoprotein lipase, or LPL for short. Think of LPL as a super strict nightclub bouncer standing right at the fork in the road of your metabolism. In real time, this bouncer decides if the fat you eat gets sent to your muscles to be burned for energy, or if it gets locked away deep inside your abdomen as visceral fat. Now, why is that abdominal fat so incredibly stubborn? Well, here is the crazy part. Visceral fat contains exactly 4 times more cortisol receptors than the subcutaneous fat sitting right under your skin. 4 times. That means every single time you stress your body out with an intense early morning workout while running on empty, you are just flooding your system with cortisol. And because of those 4 specific receptors, you are literally commanding your belly fat to hold on even tighter. No way, right? Let's take your typical healthy morning smoothie. It looks great on paper, but if it's packed with excess fructose, you're creating a major issue. See, unlike glucose, which pretty much every cell in your body can use, fructose is metabolized exclusively in your liver. So what happens? Your liver gets completely bottlenecked. That triggers a process called de novo lipogenesis. It literally starts building brand new triglycerides from scratch, and because of that traffic jam in your liver, it ships and parks that brand new fat directly onto your waistline. Okay, but before we can fix this biological machine, we have to stop breaking it. Meet your 3 visceral fat destroyers. First, high fructose corn syrup. This stuff bypasses your normal metabolism to force that liver bottleneck we just talked about. Second, ultra-processed seed oils. These create a massive omega-6 inflammatory overload. And third, alcohol. It metabolizes into a toxic compound that activates a really specific enzyme loop, 11-beta-HSD1, which essentially acts like a needle, injecting cortisol directly into your belly fat tissue. To put that inflammation into perspective, just think about the modern ultra-processed diet. Historically, humans ate about a 1-to-1 ratio of these fats. Today, we are looking at a massive 20-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. That is a staggering imbalance. And it directly activates the NF-κB inflammatory pathway right inside your fat cells. Your fat isn't just sitting there passively, it's actively inflamed. All right, moving on to part 1, reprogramming the night shift. Your liver was evolutionarily designed to burn fat silently while you sleep, so let's look at how to get back to that. So here is your brand new evening protocol to clock back into that night shift. By implementing a hard dinner cutoff at 6:30 p.m., or roughly 3 hours before bed, you allow your insulin to naturally drop. Then, by 8 p.m., you turn off those screens to protect your cortisol nadir. That's the natural lowest point of stress hormones in your evening. After having a nice decaf green tea at 8:30, deep sleep initiates right around 9 p.m. When insulin and cortisol are low, remember that bouncer enzyme, LPL? It actually reverses direction. It stops storing fat and begins pulling it out of your cells overnight. Then, when you wake up, instead of immediately reaching for your phone and flooding your system with stress hormones from emails and the news, try starting your day with a simple morning liver reset. Just take 500 milliliters of warm water, add a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, and the juice of half a lemon. The citric acid specifically activates your liver's cytochrome P450 enzymes. It's basically nature's way of initiating bile flow and flushing out all those overnight toxins your liver just spent hours filtering. Next up, part 2, precision fat loss and budget muscle foods. Now that we know exactly when to eat, let's talk about what precise foods actually speak the molecular language of your metabolism.
You can totally forget about generic, boring diet foods. We're looking at budget-friendly items packed with highly specific biocompounds. For instance, the EPA and DHA in fatty fish literally bind to receptors in your visceral fat to decrease TNF-alpha inflammation. The anthocyanins in dark berries, they increase adiponectin. And the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar lowers those post-meal insulin spikes, converting a massive flood into a gentle trickle. These foods don't just fill you up, they physically enter your visceral fat and completely change its behavior.
And dark berries in particular hold some incredible power. Visceral fat actively suppresses a vital hormone called adiponectin, but clinical trials show that the anthocyanins in just a single cup of dark berries a day can boost your adiponectin levels by nearly 30%. 30%! This forces your cells to become incredibly sensitive to insulin, which naturally starves out that belly fat.
Also, you absolutely do not need expensive, hyped-up detox kits to build a healthy, lean body. Seriously, budget staples like eggs, plain Greek yogurt, and whole oats provide the exact amino acids, slow-digesting proteins, and soluble fiber your gut and muscles require. And they do the whole shebang for mere pennies a serving.
Now get ready for the absolute holy grail of fat loss, AMPK activation. This is your cell's master energy sensor. You can naturally activate this sensor simply by drinking green tea loaded with the compound ECGC, or by taking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water before your biggest meal. Activating AMPK physically switches fat cells from storage mode straight into burning mode. It is quite literally like flipping a master switch inside your cells from save to spend. Check out this number, 150. That is exactly how many milligrams of a nutrient called choline are in a single egg. Why does this matter to us? Because choline is an essential nutrient your liver desperately needs to physically package up that visceral fat and export it right out of your system. Without it, the whole fat export system completely fails and the belly fat just accumulates. Let's bring this all home with Part 3, the Daily Biological Protocol. We're going to consolidate all this peer-reviewed science into actionable steps you can start using tonight. By following 4 really straightforward steps, you align with your biology instead of fighting it. Step 1, do that morning lemon water reset. Step 2, cut out all fructose before midday. Step 3, replace HIIT workouts with a gentle 20-minute post-dinner walk. And Step 4, at 10:30 p.m., drink some tart cherry juice and it's lights out. Doing this pulls glucose out of your blood without spiking cortisol, naturally boosts your melatonin, and synchronizes your circadian liver clock. Basically, you're effectively unlocking your belly fat. I really want to leave you with this final thought today. Fat loss is not a battle of willpower. It is a negotiation with your biology. Your body isn't broken, it isn't acting stubborn, and it definitely isn't out to get you. It has simply been receiving the wrong signals from a highly toxic environment. So the real question is, are you ready to stop fighting yourself, change the signals you're sending, and finally let your biology do the work?